Ever wonder what it takes to turn a blueprint into like a skyscraper or even, just a sketch on a napkin into a suspension bridge? It's not magic, but it's pretty darn close.
Right.
We're about to take a deep dive into the world of surveying technicians. They're the ones who make sure those construction projects are built accurately and, most importantly, safely.
Yeah, they're the bridge between the design and reality.
Exactly. And they're using some really cool technology along the way.
Oh, yeah, this field has really embraced technology. I mean, it's a far cry from, the days of just a compass and a level.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
And lucky for us, RoleCatcher, that's the career development platform, has a whole guide dedicated to this super fascinating career path.
Yeah.
So today, we're going beyond just like what it says in the job description.
Right.
We're going to unearth what it really takes to be a surveying technician.
And there's more to it than meets the eye, trust me. It's not just about like taking measurements, it's about understanding like the why behind them.
Okay.
And how they impact the integrity of like an entire structure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. What are some things that you might be surprised to learn that a surveying technician actually does?
Well, for starters, think about those complex maps and blueprints you see for like big construction projects.
Okay.
You might assume like an architect or an engineer whips those up,
Right.
but it's actually the surveying technician who takes those designs and translates them into like real world coordinates.
Oh, so they're the ones making sure those lines on paper actually line up with, the lay of the land.
Precisely. They're using high-tech equipment like GPS receivers, laser scanners,
Wow.
and yes, even drones to create these super detailed maps of the land.
No way.
They then take that data and they plug it into specialized software like what's called Geographic Information Systems or GIS.
Hold on, GIS. For someone who might not be familiar,
Sure.
can you break down what that is and how surveying technicians actually use it on the job?
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine taking all those measurements, elevations, and like, geographic features,
Yeah.
and then plugging them into this program that creates this super detailed, like interactive map.
Oh, cool.
That's GIS in a nutshell. Surveyors use this technology to like analyze spatial data, identify potential risks or obstacles, and even create those impressive 3D models you sometimes see.
Wow. So they're not just collecting data, they're like becoming data detectives.
Exactly. They're analyzing it, interpreting it, and then communicating those findings to the entire team. It's a highly analytical role that requires like this unique blend of technical skills and, creative problem solving.
Okay, so that already sounds way more engaging than just like holding a measuring tape all day.
Right.
But speaking of measuring, what kind of tech are we talking about here?
Oh, yeah.
Give us the inside scoop. What are the tools of the trade?
It's more exciting than your average tape measure, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Think theodolites. These are high-precision instruments used to measure angles
Okay.
and levels for determining like elevation differences. And of course, they're using CAD software, that stands for computer-aided design, to create those technical drawings.
So we're talking lasers, drones, sophisticated software. I mean, this is high-tech stuff, but it's not all about the gadgets. Right.
Right.
I imagine there's a good deal of like on-the-ground practical knowledge that's needed too.
You're absolutely right. While technology plays a huge role, a good surveying technician also needs like a deep understanding of surveying principles and practices.
Okay. So what does that look like in the day-to-day? Like paint us a picture.
Well, one day you might find yourself like on a bustling construction site, working alongside engineers and construction crews, making sure a building's foundation is, perfectly aligned.
Talk about pressure.
Yeah. Another day you could be out in a more remote location, like a forest or a coastline, collecting data for a new road or a pipeline.
Okay, so not your average desk job then.
No, not at all.
What would you say are some of the biggest pokes and drawbacks of this kind of work? It sounds like variety is like a huge part of it,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I imagine working in those kinds of environments, sometimes maybe under tight deadlines, I don't know, comes with its own set of challenges. What would you say are some of the not so glamorous aspects of being a surveying technician?
Well, you definitely have to be comfortable working outdoors in all kinds of weather. We're talking, scorching sun, pouring rain,
Yeah.
maybe even some snow, depending on where you are.
Yeah, not exactly a 9-to-5 office job.
Exactly. And the hours can be irregular, too. Construction projects don't always stick to a strict schedule. So you got to be prepared for, some early mornings, late nights, maybe even weekends, just depending on what the project demands.
So you need to be adaptable and like okay with a little bit of unpredictability.
Okay.
But those sound like challenges, most people could overcome if they were passionate about the work.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the skills that are needed to succeed in this field. What would you say are like the non-negotiables for someone who's considering a career as a surveying technician?
Well, having a strong foundation in math is crucial. You're going to be
Yeah,
dealing with measurements, calculations, geometry, all that good stuff on a daily basis.
makes sense.
But it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about spatial reasoning,
Yeah.
being able to visualize and understand three-dimensional space.
That makes sense. It's one thing to like read a measurement, but it's another to actually see how it translates into, the real world.
Precisely. And like I mentioned before, you'll need to be comfortable using computers and specialized software.
Okay.
But beyond the technical skills, there are some essential, we'll call them soft skills, that are just as important.
You mean like communication and teamwork?
Absolutely. You'll be working closely with a team of surveyors, engineers, construction workers.
Right.
So being able to communicate clearly and effectively is key. You'll be explaining technical data, interpreting blueprints, and resolving any discrepancies that might come up.
So you're not just a technical expert, you're also like a translator and a problem solver.
Exactly. And a good dose of patience and attention to detail wouldn't hurt either. Accuracy is paramount in this field.
Right.
And even a small error can have significant consequences.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility. It's making me realize that surveying technicians play a much bigger role in our world than I think most people even realize.
Absolutely. They're like the unsung heroes of the built environment.
Right.
Every structure that we rely on, from homes and hospitals to bridges and skyscrapers,
Yeah.
depends on their precise measurements and calculations.
Okay, I'm sold. But let's say someone is listening to this and they're thinking, this sounds awesome, but where do I even begin? What advice would you give them for getting started on this career path?
Well, RoleCatcher actually highlights some great, starting points.
Hmm.
A great first step is to look into an associate's degree or certificate program in surveying technology.
So like a 2-year program versus a 4-year degree.
Yep.
That's good to know. Are there other paths someone could take, maybe if they're looking for something, I don't know, more specialized?
Absolutely. One of the things that excites me most about this field is the potential for specialization.
Okay.
You can choose to focus on a specific area of surveying that aligns with your interests and skills.
Okay, so give us the rundown. What are some of those exciting specializations? So you're telling me I could become like the Indiana Jones of underwater surveying?
Exactly.
I'm picturing sonar equipment
Oh.
on ancient shipwrecks.
That's one way to go. Hydrographic surveying is a fascinating field. You'd be mapping bodies of water, studying the seafloor,
Wow.
maybe even helping to plan offshore wind farms.
Wow, talk about being on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
What other specializations are out there?
Well, if you're interested in property lines and legal boundaries, cadastral surveying might be your calling.
Okay.
It's a blend of history, law, and high-tech measurement. You'd be researching old maps, maybe resolving boundary disputes, and ensuring accurate property records.
So you're like a detective of the deed.
Yeah.
Sounds like every day would bring something new.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about, specializing. You can really dive deep into an area that, fascinates you and become a sought-after expert.
It's almost as if you're not just choosing a career, you're choosing an adventure.
I love that way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And speaking of adventures, we've talked a lot about, the present, but what about the future of surveying? Where do you see this field heading in the next, decade or two?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
With technology advancing at warp speed.
Oh, yeah.
It's exciting to imagine, what the future holds for surveying technicians.
You're right. The possibilities seem, endless. We're already seeing, drones and laser scanners becoming commonplace.
Right.
In the future, I think we'll see even greater integration of, artificial intelligence and automation.
Okay, so robots aren't taking over just yet,
Not yet.
but they're becoming part of the team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I envision a future where, AI assists with data analysis,
Okay.
identifies potential errors, and even helps to, optimize workflows. But here's the thing.
Okay.
This doesn't mean that, human surveying technicians will become obsolete. Quite the opposite, actually.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
As technology kind of takes over some of the more routine tasks,
Okay.
it frees up surveying technicians to focus on the things that require, uniquely human skills.
Okay.
Critical thinking, problem solving, communication.
So it's not just about knowing how to like use the technology, but knowing how to like interpret the data, analyze the results, and make, informed decisions.
Exactly. The future belongs to those who can adapt, learn new technologies, and, collaborate effectively
Right.
with both humans and machines.
It sounds like a career as a surveying technician is anything but static. It's a field that's constantly evolving, which means there's always like something new to learn and discover.
That's the beauty of it. If
Yeah.
you're someone who thrives on challenges, enjoys working with cutting-edge technology, and, wants a career that's anything but ordinary,
Yeah.
then this might just be the perfect path for you.
I have to say, diving deep into this world with you has been really eye-opening. For anyone listening who's ready to like embark on their own exploration, what's the best way to connect with RoleCatcher and tap into those like incredible resources they offer?
It's easy. Just head over to their website, rolecatcher.com. They've got everything from detailed career guides and interview tips to job boards and networking opportunities.
Amazing. Consider this your official invitation to dive in. And who knows, maybe you'll be shaping the world one precise measurement at a time. Until next time, happy exploring.